I really like the intro that we did for the last episode. It was the radio. It was like, hey, everybody, what's going on? I'm the Gator, and that's the Slapper. Is that what it is?
Is that
Slapper?
it?
You want to be the Slapper? Hey, folks.
Sure.
Welcome to Death by Podcast, episode 85. When we hit 80, Kevin, that was like a good, cool little benchmark. But I think 85, there's more significance to that. I don't know why. It's a good year, 1985.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm your host, Adam. That's your other host.
Kevin.
Folks, please pardon the sniffles and stuff. Kevin had COVID yesterday for a day, or
Didn't
thought
have
he
COVID.
did.
I was sick. I thought I did.
I've got
Didn't
some
have it.
allergy stuff going on because of this stupid heat and the humidity. Man, it's
It's
81. I'm looking at my thing. It's 81 degrees in my apartment.
That's wild. It's probably 81. It's probably 80 degrees outside, and it's late.
No, it's like 100 degrees outside. Hopefully you guys are all being cool and safe, but here in Chicago, we hit 115 today. Don't go outside. That's all I'm saying. Are there any horror movies where it's like heat based? Is that a thing?
Nah, I can't think of anywhere. It's like,
It's just like, I mean, obviously aside from like hell, 'cause that's what it feels like.
yeah, I can't think of it. I mean, there are a lot where it's based in the cold, but I can't think of any
Yeah.
in extreme heat.
I guess there aren't really any places really where it's like you go to the tundra and everything's frozen or whatever, but it's not like people go to a place that's like hell because that, unless you're like filming in a volcano or something.
I mean, from what I understand, it's always like this in like Phoenix and Arizona, and
yeah,
you
no
know what
thanks.
I mean?
Yeah, but it's dry. It's not like this humidity, I guess.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I've
I've never been to either one.
Not interested. Folks, if you're listening from there, fuck off. No, I'm kidding. We love you guys. For the main show, I had the letter T. I chose Terrorvision, which I can tell from Kevin's face he loved, but we'll get into that later. I got some What'd You Watches, but Kevin, did you find any news?
No, it wasn't a whole ton of news this week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
really not much, man.
Everybody's kind of like settling down from the Toxic Avenger reveal, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like I had some. I mean, I've got news that's not horror related. Frasier's coming back, which is relevant because we just recorded the Patreon, and we for BoobTube TV we did we're doing our Halloween horror sitcom March
Right.
to Halloween, and we did Home Improvement season 2 episode 6 was their Halloween, one of their first Halloween episode. It was great. So we talked about that on the Patreon, patreon.com/Death by Podcast if you want to support the show. But yeah, Frasier, it's my favorite show of all time.
So I've heard this new season's going to take place in Boston.
Boston. He's back in Boston. Did you see you're familiar with the show, yeah?
Yeah.
You know how the tossed salad and scrambled eggs, the song it opens up with tossed salad, and they show like it's like a sketch of Seattle.
Yeah.
Now it's like they released like the new opening, whatever you call that. He re-recorded a new song that he's singing like he did. And it's the same style with the drawing, but it draws Seattle, and then it like draws a line and it goes across the country to Boston, and it draws Boston. So he's back there. It's gonna be on Paramount Plus. I'm not gonna subscribe until it's all done, and I'll go watch it all in one chunk. But as much as I love that show, it's my favorite show. I don't have high hopes because Niles isn't in it. Daphne's not in it. As far as I know, Roz isn't in it.
I think I heard Roz is in it, but I also I didn't hear Roz is in it. I just heard Daphne, Niles weren't, and I was like, well, who's left? Because John Mahoney's dead.
Yeah,
and it was like,
you don't have the dynamic of the brothers. You don't have a show.
No, I mean Niles. I'm not gonna say Niles is the show, but like the show really is the two of them.
Yeah,
you could take out Roz or Daphne.
Yeah,
you can't do it without Niles. If you ask me,
I don't know why he didn't do it. But it had to have been his choice. I don't know.
And I wonder if I'm sure they're going to Boston to like milk like the Cheers thing. I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
it's got his son. It's got his son, Freddie, is in it. So he's grown up. And then it's also got Niles and Daphne's son, who was born in the final episode of the series.
Right.
So the nephew, and he's a little bit grown up as well. But it's like, why is the nephew there in Boston? You know?
I mean, you could,
yeah, I know you write whatever.
You could write whatever you want. I mean, we were just talking about Teen Wolf too.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to make any sense.
Sure. But I'll watch it. I mean, I love Kelsey Grammer. Like he's just, I guess I don't know if he's cool or not, but I love his comedy.
And you know what? I mean, that's the other thing. I wonder if it's going to be like, okay, the kids are I mean, like if they're normal, if they have like, because that was the best part about John Mahoney was he was normal,
Yeah,
and he bounced
yeah,
off of them so
yeah.
well.
It was
But
definitely.
it's not going to work if it's you know what I mean. It's not. I don't know. You can't.
It's interesting because the three of them together in the show, both of the Niles and Fraser, and we won't drag this out too long, folks, but Niles and Fraser were both psychiatrists, and the three of them together were definitely the id, the ego, and the superego, which is like a thing from psychology. And without that dynamic, if you don't have a show, and especially with just the two brothers, and I know Mahoney died, but if the whole supporting cast is just a bunch of kids, no, thank you. So
Yeah.
there's got to be something else. I don't know. I'm looking forward to watching it.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. How many Cheers cameos do you think we're gonna get?
One per episode. There's 10 episodes.
No way.
I'm betting. I don't know. I'm just saying. I bet
that'd be wild because everybody's still alive.
Yeah, yeah. You got to do it. You're in Boston.
But the bar's closed, so it's not like you could do.
There's like I don't know. There's a new bar, Sam's Place. I
would be weird if Sam just opened another bar.
I would love it if they, how like Cheers, Frasier is a spinoff of Cheers, and now they're bringing Frasier back. It would be cool if they set it up and then they spun off a sequel to Cheers.
I wonder if I bet I'm gonna make a prediction.
I'm
gonna say Rhea Perlman has a bar.
Okay,
because they're not gonna bring back Shelley Duvall. They can't bring back Christy Alley.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that makes sense.
I bet Rhea Perlman has her own bar.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's totally with the times.
Yeah.
And
I could see that. Because she's still relevant, man. She's all up in Star Wars and stuff. So
I mean, it wouldn't be. How's she look? Does she look like,
Well, she was in Bad Batch, so she was a voice.
Oh, she's a voice.
But she still sounds good, and I'm sure she was a little person, so I'm sure she's good.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see Norm and Cliff being regulars.
We'll do
maybe Sam works there. I bet they can't get Woody. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
He won't be in there.
Yeah,
we'll do a Frasier.
I don't want Woody in there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because everybody else I could see. I don't want to see Woody still working at the bar.
No, you might get a cameo because he had a cameo in Frasier. He had a couple episodes. And
did he? Pretty much everybody did, right?
Everybody did, but yeah. All right, we'll see. We'll see. We were supposed to do a Wood watch of Elijah Wood.
Oh, I didn't do that.
And see, yeah. Well, all right. Look forward to it next week. We got to get into the swing of we're still like missing Rob Zombie, the Zombie Watch, but we'll look for next week.
Weirdly, there was a little bit of news there. NECA announced they had a big announcement. And it was just that they're making figures for the new the Rob Zombie Monsters movie. The figures look
really,
the figures look cool.
Gross.
I mean, but yeah, it's like, ugh.
I just the guy who played.
Why don't you guys make real Monsters figures?
Yeah. Well, Super 7 has like the reaction ones. They look really good. But
I bought the whole series on DVD for $12.
Nice.
The other day.
I got some. What'd you watches? Before I do that, I forgot. I'm looking at my notes and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. There's an account on Instagram called Excellent Crypt, and it's a guy who makes carded toys similar to like the reaction style stuff, but they're like they're just like characters from horror movies. But the cool thing is he's done just about every movie that we've talked about. He's got a toy, and his art, his cards, they're awesome. Like it's really like colorful and crazy and weird.
Yeah, you sent me them. They're really cool.
Shout out to Excellent Crypt. What'd you watch, Kevin?
I saw the new Turtles movie.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Mutant Mayhem. It was okay.
Cowabunga, dude.
It was. I mean, I went in. I went in. I don't know. My expectations.
Did you eat some pizza?
No, I had some popcorn.
Cowabunga.
Yeah, but I don't know. You know what? I realized that the reason I didn't want to see it, like, was probably dumb, but also I was like, ugh. And it's the stupidest reason. It's because no, it's just that like it's the way they look. I like before it came out, I was like, if Rav has a fucking bandana instead of a headband, and if they give Don glasses, I'm gonna be pissed.
Once.
Well, it's just every time it sucks. Every time it's like it's not good. They do that. They give Don glasses because,
Yeah,
of course, he has glasses. He's smart.
yeah,
That's yeah, smart. Some smart guys have
yeah.
glasses.
Get out of
And
here.
then the bandana. I think it looks terrible.
He's
And they
tough
keep,
though. He's tough, Kevin.
but
That's
I
what you
hate it.
do. If you're tough, you wear a
But
bandana.
you know what? It wasn't that bad. I honestly didn't even mind the glasses by the end of the movie. Like it kind of works.
So you liked it a lot. I could tell.
I
You just
liked
don't
it.
want to say it.
No, I liked it more than I thought I would, but it was like, I mean, it was like watching a cover band. Like to me,
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like the Turtles are this thing, like
yeah,
that in my head.
right.
And this isn't exactly that, but it's fine. It was, it could have been worse.
The
It was fine.
animation. I've seen the trailer, and the animation makes me want to have a stroke. Basically,
It's clearly like that's the
Spider Verse
I was
animation.
watching a lot of there was watching a bunch of like not behind the scenes, but a bunch of like basically like interviews and stuff, like press, and they're just talking about we had the idea that why don't we draw it like as if it was drawn by a teenager, and I'm like, I just wanted to be I'm just thinking like, really, it wasn't that some producer was like, make it look like this fucking
Yeah.
movie that made $1 billion right now.
Yeah, totally.
Like that wasn't part of the pitch. We're gonna make
Yeah.
it look like the Spider-Verse.
Shut up.
Like it's just a style of animation that's like
Right.
everywhere now,
I just
which
don't
is
like it.
fine. I mean, it totally works for Spider-Verse, and
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
won't be seeing it because I have no interest. I know you want me to watch that other one from a while ago, and I just haven't gotten up the courage for it or
the
whatever.
both of them are about
Interesting.
on the same level, if you ask me. They're both pretty good. They really lean into the teenage part of Teenage
Okay.
Mutant. Like they are like young teenagers. Like they act, and they're not obnoxious, but if someone said that they were, I wouldn't argue. Like
Yeah.
they're all loud, they all talk over each other, they're all,
Yeah.
but it
But
wasn't
see,
bad. My only gripe with it was, the whole thing about it is like the mutant mayhem. They put like 15 mutants in it,
yeah.
like Leatherhead's in it, and Bebop, Rocksteady, Ray Fillet, like all Mono Gecko,
Okay.
but like all of them only have, maybe besides Mondo Gecko, like they all maybe have 2 lines each.
Okay.
And they brought in all these like big celebrities, like, to do
Really?
like, like they all, every when you look at like the cast, it's like, wow, that's a whole star. No, there's no way anybody on this cast besides the 4 kids and Jackie Chan, because Jackie Chan does the voice of Splinter.
Yeah.
There's no way anybody did more than a day.
Yeah.
There's no way, because I'm telling you, Bebop has like 3 lines, Rocksteady has maybe 3 lines,
Yeah.
if that. Yeah, everybody.
Aside from being able to put their names on the poster, I don't understand why a studio would pay to have actors deliver minuscule time. It's like just have me do it. I'll do it.
Yeah, Paul Rudd plays Mondo Gecko, and that's actually really good.
What were
Yeah,
some of the other celebrities?
Post Malone,
Who's
Hannibal
that?
Buress. Post Malone's a rapper.
Oh, okay.
He's a white rapper.
Hannibal Buress.
Hannibal Buress is a comedian. Rose Byrne plays Leatherhead, which is
Rose
that's the other thing. So
Rose
Leatherhead's
Byrne.
Rose Byrne.
She's a woman.
Yeah,
Plays Leatherhead.
yeah, and like the thing is, Leatherhead doesn't look like a chick. He just has a chick's voice.
Weird.
That same with Wingnut. Wingnut, I don't know who does the voice, but it's a girl's voice, and it's distracting.
Yeah.
Because they don't look like what Wingnut has a beard, like because he's like a, I don't know what is Wingnut.
I don't know.
He's like a bat, I think.
All right.
So he's got like a beard. And I don't know. I found that distracting.
It's weird.
I'm not saying women can't play Cajun alligators, but it was like,
It's bizarre.
it's just distracting. Like it's a giant alligator with like,
That's Leatherhead, right?
yeah, Leatherhead's. It's Post Malone. Who else? Paul Rudd plays Mono Gecko.
Aside from Paul Rudd, those are all kind of like mid celebrities, if that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who the other ones are.
I don't know. I don't
I
care.
don't know. Somebody plays Genghis Frog, and I couldn't place it because he's only got like 1 line.
It's weird. Shredder in it?
No, Shredder's the Stinger. Spoilers. Shredder's the Thanos. Like at the end, it's like, hey, call Shredder, and you see it's literally the Thanos shot. They pan out, and you see like the back of Shredder's head. It's the exact same shot.
Jeez, just put him in it.
But yeah, so Shredder's the Stinger, and like, I mean, all right, more spoilers, but like Bebop and Rocksteady are basically good guys. Like it's weird. It's
weird.
It sets it up like okay, cool. The next movie sounds great.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like maybe, yeah, it should
Uh,
be interesting.
on the other half of the same side of that coin, I watched the new Transformers movie, the one that everybody says is like the best and that it's different. It's not, you idiots. It's a Michael Bay garbage Transformers movie led by humans that I don't care about, played by actors I couldn't give two shits about. Optimus Prime has lips through the whole thing.
He does. It didn't
Yep.
look like he did in the trailer.
Nope. Because they don't want you to know that. Bumblebee is barely in it, which I don't really care. But all
They
the
brought back
villains
the old design though, right? For
all the
Optimus
villains
Prime.
look well, all the villains still look like gray shards of metal. You can't tell
Okay.
them apart. The designs of the Autobots are loose. Yeah, okay, Optimus Prime turns into exactly the truck, but that's it.
That's it.
It's Michael Bay. Period.
That
End of
sucks.
story. The action, everything about it, the story. Those movies suffer from the worst story and zero character development for the Transformers. Terrible, terrible editing. The Beast Formers or whatever they're called, the Beast Men
I don't know. I wasn't a Transformers guy, so I
are
definitely
are a
wasn't a Beast
side
Wars
note. That's
guy.
what everybody was excited about. They're a side note to the movie. I can't even, aside from Optimus Ape, none of them. Oh, and Beast Razor or Flying Hawk Woman, she
Got
gets
me.
like a little bit of time, but the rest of them, everybody's like, "Oh, it's so good to see Cheetah Man and Rhino Man." You never see them; they don't say a single word. It's so stupid. And I had no expectations.
Didn't they do the same thing with the dinosaur
Yeah,
ones?
I don't
Like
know.
the
Oh,
whole thing was like, oh, they're gonna do the
yeah,
dinosaurs,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then at the very end, they're in it for like 5 minutes.
yeah. Those movies are so bad, and like I don't have
Yeah,
any expectations. I expect them to be that way, but I still just can't believe that they insist on putting humans in them. And it's not like there were no celebrities in this movie, you know? These are just people, these are just actors I've never seen before. So like why do it?
yeah. It is kind of like with Godzilla, I get it because Godzilla and King Kong, like they don't talk, so you have to have
Sure. And you got to
humans in
step
there
on people.
somewhere.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, and but you have to like, but Transformers, yeah, they talk. They have fucking like I don't understand why they keep jamming people in them.
Yeah, you could actually character develop these guys into like characters instead of just hey, stand next to this human.
Well, they also
Um
like kill them constantly in these. Like they don't give a shit about like they just murk
I
these
don't know,
guys
man.
like constantly, right?
And we were talking last week when we were talking about this movie. What's the guy from Saturday Night Live that I hate?
He he Davidson.
Yeah, he's such an idiot. And like he plays Mirage, which is like the new Bumblebee, I guess.
Are
And
they so? Are they down to like? That's the other thing is I don't really know. I know a handful of Transformers,
yeah,
but I'm not well versed. Are they down to like the bottom of the barrel, or
no,
are
they
they
just
like?
keep no, they keep like Wheeljack, for instance. Wheeljack was in several of the Michael Bay movies and he got killed. Wheeljack's
Is he
back
a
in
good
this.
guy or a bad guy?
He's a good guy.
Okay.
Wheeljack's in this movie.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
this one's a prequel though. It takes
but
place
he
in
doesn't look,
'94, right?
yeah, sure. But Wheeljack's back in this movie, but he's a Hispanic van. And it's like, what are you guys doing? What who is anyone thinking? Like it, it's a joke about movies written by monkeys. This one actually is. I don't
It's a
know, man.
really that's one of my favorite Simpsons jokes. It's one of the written by monkeys thing.
Yeah.
It's so like Mr. Burns is giving Homer a tour of his mansion, and he goes in here because you ever hear like that, like the theory, like if you had 10,000 monkeys typing on 10,000 typewriters, like just because of probably because everything has to happen that eventually they'd be able to write like
Something
Shakespeare
good. Yeah.
or like eventually just by the theory. But he comes in and he's like, in here I have 1,000 monkeys typing on 1,000 typewriters, and like one of them's smoking a cigarette, and he goes, hang on, and he pulls up what the monkey's typing, and he goes, it was the best of times, it was the blurst of times, you stupid monkey, and he hits him with the thing. It's the best. It's such a good joke. You
Speaking of
stupid
monkeys,
monkey.
speaking of monkeys, I'll go through these quick, but we had a discussion about Jim Carrey last week or the week before,
Yeah.
and I said some bad words about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
I had that movie on. It was Sonic. It was Sonic 2. It was on in the background when I was working.
I watched about an hour of Sonic 2
It's not
too.
terrible, man. It's not
I
terrible.
know Lindsay made me turn it off. I was like,
And
this is solid. This is fine.
for what it is, it's a kids movie about a
Yeah.
video game. It works. And Jim Carrey, it works. I'd say
I hope he does the third one because like I want him to do the like he plays Robotnik, and in the first one he's just got the goggles, but he's got hair, you know. In the second one, in the first one he just has the goggles.
Yeah.
Okay. Second one, he's bald and has the stash, and he kind of looks like him.
I think he dies at the end of this movie.
I don't know. I didn't see the end, but
I did.
But then like the third one, make him like a big fat guy.
Is Robotnik fat?
Yeah, Robotnik. In Japan they call him Eggman.
I think somebody says that in this one. Anyway, if you like cheeseburgers, give them a try sometime. It's not a bad movie for what it is. What else I watch? The Witcher, season 3. It's the newest one. You ever watch The Witcher?
No, I don't watch The Witcher. No.
I mean, if you like Henry Cavill, it's a good Henry Cavill fix. I guess.
I could take or leave him. I mean, I thought he was a great Superman.
Yeah. The Witcher's good though. It's
well, they're writing him out of the show, right? Or are they just
why is that?
him?
Why is that? Do you know?
He is leaving. Seemingly, I feel like this has happened to him like 3 times, where he's doing a movie or a TV show, and then they're like, "We're gonna go away." Like he gets really into like he's into apparently The Witcher is a series of books and a series of video games.
Yeah,
and he like gets really really into that, and then they basically tell him like, "Oh, we're gonna do all this other shit. We're not gonna do that." And he's like, "Well, that's not." The argument is like, yeah, like he's like, "No, I mean, do what the books do. Like that's why people are watching it." And he gets into big things with them, and then basically quits the show. Same thing. He's doing a Warhammer movie now. Apparently, that's one of his big things too. He's big into like Warhammer and Magic the Gathering and stuff.
Okay.
And were doing the same shit, and he walked. So I don't know if that's why.
So he's like he's cool then.
He seems super cool. Like there's been a few interviews that are really fun where like before he was even cast in the Warhammer movie, like he's doing a regular interview, I think for like Superman or Mission Impossible, and someone's like, "I hear you play a little bit of War." It might not even be Warhammer. It might even be. I hear you play some like tabletop games. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What are you into?" And he starts talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm like a level 8 like ranger elf god." And he's like, "Oh no shit." And the guy, you see like Henry Cavill like light up, and he's like, "Oh no, okay, so you know your shit." And they just start going, and everybody else in the interview is like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
He seems to be legit.
Yeah, he's cool, man. And when the show is overly complicated, and after every episode, I'm like, I don't know what the plot is, but it's a cool show, and it's because of him. He is really cool in the show.
It seems like that he's, and that seems to be like everybody, like he's leaving, and they're gonna recast him. I think with one of the Hemsworths.
Yeah, that
won't
work.
That the internet seems to be like, fuck you.
That won't work. Not with that kid. Yeah, because Henry Cavill has what it takes to play Geralt, whatever the hell his name is. And then the other thing was Ahsoka.
Oh yeah, I was dying to talk.
Did you watch it?
This. No.
Did you watch Ahsoka?
No.
You watched Ahsoka?
No, I didn't watch Ahsoka.
There was
it good?
This is my quick review. All right. I have not liked Rosario Dawson's take on Ahsoka. She's one of my all-time favorite Star Wars characters, top 5 definitely. I think that they're muting her in a way where she's like
nerfing her.
No, she's the character, but it's like she shouldn't be. I know she's older than she was in the Clone Wars, but she shouldn't be this like tired and reserved, and it's just drink some coffee. And that's the only gripe that I have about the first 2 episodes. They dropped them together. There's nothing cringy, like Kenobi and Boba Fett. The aesthetic and the quality of the show is on par with Andor. It's like really good. Except it's like even they did that thing where, like I was saying, like if you can balance the pulp of Boba Fett and the seriousness of Andor, you get the perfect mix for Star Wars. And I think they've done that so far. The only thing is just drink some fucking coffee. Like everyone in the show is just so
Tired.
like just tired and not energetic. There's no energy to the show, to the performances. There's no.
Is that how they're written, or is that you think that's the performances?
I think it's how they're written because it's Ray Stevenson, man, in his last role.
Yeah, yeah.
It's her. She's got pop. It's Mary Elizabeth Winstead. It's I don't know, like a bunch of people are in this show. So it's definitely how they're written. And Dave Filoni, it's his show. He directed the first episode. The second one was somebody else. It's good. It's just not. It's like, man, why isn't anybody excited about anything? Like, I don't know.
I have a question about like Filoni Star Wars, because you're big into it, and like,
Sure.
do you feel like it takes a little bit away from Luke's, the whole thing with Luke, like the whole back in the original trilogy, it felt like Luke's their I mean, they literally said like, dude, he's our last hope.
Yeah.
If he fails, we're fucked, and there's no more Jedi.
Right.
And like now we're finding, oh, there's actually Jedi all over the place. like really.
I mean,
And like he's our last hope. No, there is another. Should have been. No, there's actually a shitload of Jedi.
I mean, I was gonna say like that's not necessarily a Filoni thing because Yoda set that up by saying that Leia was also out there,
right?
But, I mean, it tracks because George Lucas was in control of Clone Wars, and he brought, as far as like overseeing it, it was Filoni's show, but it was Lucas's,
the last season was under Disney, right?
Yeah, true. But it makes sense that there would be other Jedis out there that escaped Order 66 because they were not all in one place. They were not all being overseen by the clones. So
I know it makes sense, but
yeah, it works, I think, for me. But it definitely takes away everything post original trilogy. Definitely takes away from Luke's story. I would agree with you with that. That's why, as much as I love some of it, I kind of keep the original trilogy as like, that's it, it's done, so and I can do that. There's a lot out there to enjoy, especially with other Jedi, as long as it's done right. Like Kanan Jarrus from Rebels was awesome. He was a great addition as far as a Jedi that escaped Order 66. That worked. And a lot of these Jedis that pop up stay in their own little story bubble, so they don't really bleed into like, hey Luke, you're not the only one, like waving to him from across the room. But yeah, I don't know. I think you should. I'll let you know when Ahsoka's done. I'll let you know if you should watch it or not. But
all right, yeah, especially like, yeah, because I don't have any of the like the rope that you do. Like if it starts to suck, I think you're gonna finish no matter what. You know what I mean? And for me, I don't have the I'm waiting for Luke to show up, or something like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not
waiting for that. I mean, I just want a good story.
I mean, I don't have the I don't have the love for Ahsoka because I don't know,
Sure.
I've seen stuff with her in it, but I'm,
well, and that's the thing.
It makes no
to
difference.
Me, it's two totally different characters from the Clone Wars to this. So anybody who's like, yeah, she's just like Ahsoka, you're lying to yourself because she's not. It's a totally different character.
It's a bummer.
Yeah. So whatever. All right, man. Terrorvision. Should we do this? You got anything else before we get into it?
No.
Terrorvision 1985. Thumbs up or thumbs down? What do you got?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it was pretty wacky, man. This movie.
It is.
Where had you seen this? Because Leo brought this up.
Yeah, I saw it. I came to it. I think I mentioned I came to it through the toy community, and I'll send you pictures. I meant to have it right here with me while we were talking. The Deadly Delivery guys who do resin toys, they did a figure of the creature with his little TV, and I was like, "That's fucking awesome! What is that?" And I had never seen it before, and I found a lot of movies through them. Rubber Monsters of Schlockland, that whole little.
It's a great account
niche, yeah. So that's how I found it. I watched it probably 3 years ago for the first time. It's a bonkers movie, man. So light premise, there's some aliens have these weird mutant pets, and when they get out of hand, they start eating too much, and so they zap them into electricity. But this one sort of got bounced around through the galaxy and landed on Earth in a satellite and came out of the TV to eat people. And that's
Yep.
the movie basically. We
I
got
mean,
Ted. What do you got?
no, go. Yeah, go for it. Do the cast.
Written directed by Ted Nicolau. This dude, did you look this guy up?
I did, but I looked him up a couple days ago.
He's just got like 51 movies that he's directed. And they're all like straight to video horror basically. His biggest one was, besides this, was Subspecies, the series, which is a vampire series that I'd like to check out sometime. Also produced, this is a Charles Band movie. Charles Band is I put in my notes, he just produced everything.
Yeah.
From, let's see, I got a list here of Cellar Dweller, Ghoulies, like almost the whole franchise of Ghoulies. He had his hands in Elm Street, Halloween, some of the like Halloween 4, From Beyond.
Oh wow, okay.
All the
A lot of like creature
based stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also, he's kind of like a Gorman of maybe Corman, like a Roger Corman of like, with a little bit more of a budget, I guess. He's just behind so many things. When you look at his IMDb, every B horror movie or C horror movie from the 80s into the 90s that is on your radar, like he pretty much produced it, at least. Like all the Reanimator. Who directed Reanimator? I forget. Do you remember?
Stuart Gordon.
So like all of Stuart Gordon's stuff he was a part of, because From Beyond is Stuart Gordon.
Yeah.
So yeah, the dude is just phenomenal. And then John Carl Buechler, I always fuck up his name, is the guy that did the effects, and he did the effects in almost all those movies too. He's another guy that, like, if there was an 80s movie that had effects like this creature and stuff, it was this guy. Where it's like, I guess at first it just looks like a mess, but then like as the movie goes on, it's like, you know what the creature looks like by the end, you know? So it had like people in there, had a box office of 320,000, but I didn't get a budget, so I don't know if it made money or not. Cast
that was a total budget.
That was a
total
box
gross
office, yeah, 320,000. So it was not a big, even if the budget was small, I don't think it made a lot of money. Cast wise though, it's got some shining stars, Kevin.
Oh yeah.
Garrett Graham.
Yep.
The dad.
Yeah.
You know what I always think of with him?
What?
Did you ever see Chud 2?
I've never seen Chud 2. I've only seen Chud 1. He plays the title role in Chud
he plays
2.
Bud the Chud.
I've heard Chud 2 is really, really awful.
Yeah, it's garbage. There's no reason to watch it. Yeah, it's a rough movie. Child's Play 2. He did a couple movies with De Niro, which is strange. He did a bunch of movies. Chad Allen.
Yeah. Yep.
Chad Allen, your boy.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Oh yeah. What's his name?
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah. Well, Garrett Graham was in Voyager, and
of course he was.
And he was on Deep Space Nine.
As an alien, was he an alien in both of them?
I don't think he. I mean, I think he was from another planet, but he might have been. I remember him being on the show, so I don't think they put him in too much makeup.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me. But Chad Allen, I remember.
Chad Allen's the kid, right?
Yeah, he didn't have like he was never on Star Trek as an adult, right? He was still like a teen.
Well, yeah, if he was on Next Gen, let me see what episode it is.
I remember him being like
Suddenly Human. It's season 4. I know what episode this is.
I remember he didn't Picard kind of take him under his wing for some reason. Professor X.
Yeah, if this is the episode, I think it is. It's
I think that's how it went. But
no, Picard famously hates kids. I don't think there's a couple where he has to deal with kids. Like this one where he's trapped in an elevator with 3 of them. I don't remember this one. And he's like a teenager. He's like this seems like his late teens, early 20s.
I feel like he was like visiting the ship and was a dickhead, and then something happened and he had to learn a lesson. I think that's how it went. But the star of the show,
this episode tonight. I have no idea.
Star of the show, Kevin, Jon Gries, right?
Wait, Jon Gries. Jon Gries was the who's
hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jon Gries. You know who that is?
Yeah, I know who that is.
I mean, he's Uncle Rico.
Yeah, but like people know him as Uncle Rico. I mean, the dude did like a ton of shit before that. That was in Napoleon Dynamite. Like, what was that? 2000 something?
2004. I hate Napoleon Dynamite.
Really?
except for
Uh,
there's one part that like makes me like that I think is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But besides that, it's a 5 second joke.
yeah.
But
So he was the werewolf in Monster Squad. He was the werewolf in Fright Night 2.
no shit.
He was Laszlo in Real Genius, which has become one of my all-time favorites that I've seen like a bunch of times recently. Jon
Oh my god,
Gries, man, dude is awesome.
he's on the White Lotus.
What is
He
that?
plays.
That a
Oh,
flower?
dude, it's a great show on HBO, and he's in both seasons. There's no, there's only two characters that have they come back for both seasons, and
Is
he's
it a
one
new
of them.
show?
They're in season. They finished season 2.
So how does he look? Like I haven't seen him in
He looks great.
forever.
He looks great.
No, he's the best part of this movie, man. He plays OD, the
I
boyfriend.
can't believe that's him. I can't
Yeah,
believe that that's Uncle Rico. I can't believe that's OD. I mean, he looks different in every one of these roles.
yeah, totally.
He's like a Gary Oldman.
Yeah, a little bit. He's awesome in this movie. I thought he was hilarious. He's like
I
he's
just,
like he's the boyfriend and he's his lines. He's just got the best lines because he's like a surfer dude, punk,
yeah, he's a dipshit.
and his hair, he's got like this weird like it's like a mullet, but it's also clearly a wig that like is way too big for him.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Like halfway through, I'm like, man, that is such a bad wig.
Uh
It was weird too. Like when he goes to meet the parents, at first they're like, "What? He's wearing a leather jacket," but then they're like, "Aren't they like into him?" Then like, I
well the
don't know.
parent yeah, but the parents are weird.
For
The
sure.
parents are like swingers. Talking to your mic.
So yeah, everything. There's a ton of shit in this movie that is nuts, but it's just played completely straight,
Yeah.
like as if it isn't. Like there's whatever. There's a 9-year-old that runs around with a fucking AK-47 the whole movie, like a working assault rifle, and nobody bats an eye at it. Like nobody even mentions it.
Everyone's like an extreme caricature of whatever character it is that they're playing,
Yeah,
which is kind of like crazy grandpa, absent-minded parents, uh, kid with way too much of an imagination, but it's like to the extreme. Everyone, what do you think about the parents? The parents are fucking weird and creepy.
the first time when like I think it's when they're meeting OD and they say like we oh yeah we're going out, we're swingers. I was
Yeah.
and he's like gnarly. I was like, oh, that's cute. They think swingers is something else. And then the next thing, like they're bringing people home, and I'm like, oh, they're really that's a major plot point.
Yeah,
They're super swingers,
totally.
like, and it was just so weird.
And like the scene where like the alien is impersonating all five of them in the bed,
Yeah,
and like grandpa pops out, whatever, and they're like, remember kids, we do our thing, you do yours. To me says that like the kids have caught them in their weirdness before,
yeah.
and it's just an accepted thing in this family, which obviously this is like again extreme bananas family, but that was creepy, that was gross. That's of all the gross things in this
Well,
movie, like
the girl does call it out. She's like, "That's gross. That's like a whole
yeah,
new
yeah,
level."
totally.
Yeah, I mean, so the creature's basically the thing.
Yeah, it's like but
I
he
mean, it's
only,
the exact same thing. It's just
yeah,
it can.
but he only does it like it's spotty, like he only impersonates people like here and there, but when he does grandpa in the bunker,
Yeah,
that's fucked up to me. Like that was one of the more like thing, scenes, because like grandpa's in the bunker, the kid, the kid's gonna go in the bunker, but it's not grandpa, and he's all like dripping with slime when he's
well,
talking.
yeah, they're always like all slimy, and
Yeah.
they're
Oh man. And it's like, is he gonna like eat the kid or absorb the kid? I have like a super, I guess out of all the ways like alien powers or ways an alien could like or a monster could kill someone, is
Mhm.
that is the way the thing does, how like the assimilation.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, that gets under my skin like big time. So when the alien was doing that, it's like, oh fuck, that's messed up. But I love this alien.
yeah. The alien looks great.
I think it's awesome. I love the character of the alien. It's like a dog basically, but I mean, he's like a straight up murderer though. Like,
Yeah, he's like, there's no motivate. Well, I think he's eating to like survive, right? Like, or is that what the?
I guess like the other alien guy says like there you can control them until they eat or something like that. Like if they
What a
eat too much.
what a crazy thing too. Like the whole movie, the guy's on the TV, like the alien being like, and everybody's like, "What a weird TV show!" Like
All,
where he's just,
Also, like every time somebody turns the volume up, they catch like the full message of what the dude's saying, you know,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
if he's like, I don't know, like I guess it was like on a loop or whatever, but that was hilarious. When he shows up, the scene where he do they even show like where he comes from? Does he come out of the TV?
He comes out of the TV. You know what I really like that they did in this. I mean, we can go into it for sure. There's a ton of stuff, but I like when horror movies do this. Is like in the beginning they introduce like a handful of characters. They introduce like 5 or 6, right? And then they split off, and then so you've got like a main group, and it follows like you have first you have the grandpa and the kid, and then the thing eats grandpa, then the kids got to deal with it, and the parents come home, right? And like then parents come home with these like which we'll get into it. They come home with these people, and but then what was cool is once it kills all them, you're like, oh, what are we gonna do now? And then the boyfriend and Odie and the daughter come home, and you're like, oh yeah, we have a whole new set of characters. Like I forgot about these guys, you know. Terrifier 2 does that, like where I was like, where or Terrifier 1 did it, where it was like, where the fuck do you go from here? You killed everybody. The movie's only halfway over, and you're like, oh yeah, there's all these other people that
Yeah.
were in the beginning. Like
Yeah.
I like that.
I guess, yeah. I guess with like typical slasher movies, they like you don't get like a brand new set usually.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that, like, you set it up and then
They like spread out the group as far as the killings
Killer
go.
Clowns from Outer Space does this kind of. That was just on the other day.
Killer Clowns. Did you
Yeah.
watch it again?
I watched like 20 minutes of it. I mean, it's
Solid. It's good stuff. What do you think of the speaking of clowns, what do you think of the daughter?
She's annoying, but it was fine. That style, I remember being alive in the 80s and thinking that style was like, because it was very popular,
Like Twisted Sister style?
like the like big hair. I remember being a young kid being like, this looks terrible, and everybody's
Really?
gonna wait. Yeah, you know how like I felt that way about like a lot of the new metal bands, Avenged Sevenfold and Papa Roach and stuff. I remember being like, everybody's gonna be really embarrassed when they like Creed and stuff. I was like, people are gonna realize this is garbage eventually.
That
And
like Papa Roach, weren't they like Mexican goth or something?
no, they were all like white guys singing
Really?
about, yeah,
Okay.
they're really, really bad. But like
They didn't really have a look though.
they were like I don't know. Let's not talk. I hate that band. Anyway, but you know what I mean? You ever have like a trend and be like, oh, this is clearly trendy and it's
Sure.
embarrassing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That look was my first experience with that.
Really?
Like, yeah, like I remember being embarrassed for Cindy, like watching the Goonies and being embarrassed for Cyndi Lauper, being like, she looks so stupid.
In the Goonies?
Yeah, she's not her music. They're watching her music.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but see, like Cyndi Lauper, that's a good example because she kind of like she didn't invent this look.
She probably is what made it popular. This chick is dressed like Cyndi Lauper.
True, but she's also like a metal chick. So it's like Cyndi Lauper wasn't metal, but Cyndi Lauper like took that look and like if Cyndi Lauper today she looks like a regular person. I mean, she doesn't look like that.
Seemingly, probably.
Yeah, but if she like looked like I have seen her and she looks, she's still got like colorful hair, but she doesn't look like this. But if she did look like this, she could still look like that and it wouldn't be like embarrassing, I think. But like,
I don't know. I gotta tell you, when I see older, like anytime I see like especially male like rock stars, and a lot of guys,
yeah.
The guy that used to cut my hair has that like haircut where it's like I used to have a really badass haircut, and now like when I was 20, the haircut I'm talking about.
Usually longer.
It's longer and it's like styled the shit. Like Bon Jovi has this haircut where it's like, man, that's a lot of work for a 60-year-old guy's haircut.
Totally, man.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Like if it's what did I watch the other day? It was I've been watching a lot of like 80s bands, but today, and they hold on to it was Def Leppard.
These guys,
was doing a show from Vegas or something like that. And they like the lead singer, I forget his name, but he hadn't cut it. He still had long hair and he was a little heavier and a little hunched over. And so he just looked kind of like that kind of like a grandma almost. I don't know.
Yeah. I remember.
Like, what are you doing, man?
Like watching VH1 and watching those guys like from Motley Crue. And it was like, you guys are still wearing the makeup and
Yeah.
and doing the big hair, and
Yeah.
it's like 2009. It's 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, man?
Evolved. Evolved.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I loved it back then though. Like back then it worked because ever that's what the scene was, you know?
I
And
tell you, man,
like,
I remember the video for Welcome to the Jungle
yeah,
where, because I loved Guns N' Roses, to me was the best.
sure,
They were the best.
sure.
And the half of that video, he's got the big hair, and the other half he's got the hair he had forever,
Right.
which looks much better.
Well, then what's your take on Slash? Because
Slash, I was just
Slash
gonna say
still
it's Slash.
Slash still looks like he
Slash
did
still
back
pulls
then.
it off. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Slash pulls it off. If I went to an event, because Slash is more like a, I don't know, like if you went to an event and Slash was there and he wasn't wearing the hat and the glasses and had the long hair, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, why even bother having
Well,
Slash
but
there?
also because Slash has a weird face. Have you ever seen his face?
I don't think so.
It's weird. He's almost cross-eyed, and it's like he's one of those people who has his face is too small for his head. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
it's like you should have more face, and there isn't. And so the hair, I think, is intentional to like cover that aspect of him up. But I know what
There's
you,
a
yeah.
there's a
Like, what if
great
you went to
episode.
a party and you saw Slash, he had like a ponytail?
Well, I mean, if you met him at a party and didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't recognize him if he didn't have all that shit on. But like, yeah, there's an episode of South Park where like they go through, like, one of the kids is like, he figures out that Slash isn't real, and he goes to the other kids and they're like, yeah, man. And he's like, wait, well, then who played the Hollywood Bowl last week? And like, our parents, man. And like, what are you talking about? Like, it's one of our parents. Our parents have been lying to us. And then like they all have to have a talk. And it turns out like Slash, yeah, it's a big Christmas episode, but it's like it's Slash instead of Santa Claus. It's
That's
hilarious.
awesome. That's awesome.
And then Slash turns out to be real, and he turns out to be like a folk legend.
That's
It's
awesome.
great. It's a really good episode.
He, you know, you've seen the commercials that he does where it's like he's just playing like and it's for, I forget what the commercial's for. I don't think he's wearing a top hat, but he still has his hair like over his face. I'm telling you,
Yeah, I
man.
would want his hair out.
It's
I mean, I
because
don't
he,
need the hat. It blew away in the November Rain video,
yeah,
you
that's
know.
true.
So
That's true.
he probably doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets a pass. Everybody else, fucking
Yeah.
grow up.
Yeah, dude. It's rough when you
Like
see,
Vince Neil.
yeah,
Wait, Vince Neil was Poison, right?
I think so, yeah.
All the Poison guys just fuck off.
Yeah.
Like,
The best, it peaked at like Lost Boys, you know, how everybody, all the vampires in that movie are dressed like those dudes. Like there's even the Twisted Sister reference. After that movie, though, it was awesome. They looked awesome. But after that movie, it should have just kind of trailed off, and it never did. And a lot of those guys just like got stuck in that
it's a funny
weird.
thing that, like, I mean, you could look at it now and be like, how did people not know? They look like assholes. And you know what? When I saw Billy from Stranger Things, I was like, oh, that's why. Because people could pull it off.
Yeah, dude.
Like it,
I'm glad
like
you
that
said
guy's
that.
got a curly ass mullet, and
Yeah,
he
he's
pulls it off.
badass. Billy is
He looks
bad
awesome.
ass. Billy's the best character in that show. I hope he comes back in the next season. Speaking of OD, he's got the best lines, dude. I love when he like just the way he delivers them. He's like when the little kid, they get there and the little kid comes running out with the machine gun that you were talking about. He's like, Army
Yeah.
dude. He's like, what are you doing up this late? But he's like addresses him as Army dude, even though he's like this little kid that's like with a AK-47
with a giant gun,
yeah,
like a giant with a gun bigger than him.
yeah. Whoa, man, Puke City. Like,
And like, even when he starts firing it off, they act like it's a squirt gun. Like the way everybody acts, like,
yeah.
you're firing that in the house, get out of here. Like, it's wild, man. And then like the fucking grandfather just has a full on like end of the world bunker
Yeah.
attached to the house. It's not even in a basement. It's just like, it's like a closet, or it's like a bedroom door. You open it up and then there's a fucking military silo in there.
The whole place is like,
what
it's like
a crazy movie.
yeah, the whole place is like some fucked up Pee-wee's Playhouse. It's got
Yeah,
like,
you know
like
what?
S&M paintings on the wall.
The whole movie's lit. I wrote that down.
Yeah,
Like
it's
the
lit.
movie's lit like Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah. Well, it's
You
shot
know?
on the whole thing is shot on a stage. You can see when they go outside to mess with the satellite dish
Mhm.
that the way the lighting goes, you can see a corner and it's supposed to be the sky.
Really?
Yeah, like that's just the kind of movie that it is. They had a low budget. This movie and Troll. You see Troll?
Yeah, I've seen Troll.
Okay, Troll's awesome. But this movie and Troll were shot back to back, both Charles Band movies, and they were shot back to back in Rome, I believe. Same cat, same crew, some of the same cast, but all of the same crew. And they both have that. They're both like lit as if, yeah, like they had no money or something. Like it was just a bunch of like switch out the bulbs and so they're pink and what and blue and like the S&M posters on the wall, fucked up posters. And you got little kids running around this
Oh,
house.
you mean like the art?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 80s Art Deco stuff,
Yeah.
but it's like literally like people with like balls in their mouths and like chains and leather,
Yeah.
like banging each other.
I like, you know, all this stuff. Like, I can get this stuff real cheap. Like, the dad is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
all pretty funny, you know?
The dad and I mean when they bring the swingers back, the Italian guy or whatever the hell he was, Greek.
Yeah, that's right.
The way that it's a little bit creepy in the way that they like interact with each other. Just the whole swingers are fucking creepy, just in general. And like when they
I love that they say they got him out of the classified ads because, like,
yeah,
it's, yeah, where else are you going to go? It's the internet. Like,
yeah,
there's no internet,
yeah. The
you
mom,
know?
she's such a weirdo. There was weird. You ever notice this thing? And I guess it kind of ties in with the daughter. A lot of 80s movies, especially around this time, have this weird like pushback against there's like a theme of like pushing back against MTV and the aesthetic of MTV, even though these movies were made at the peak of MTV and
Well, this was,
they couldn't really exist without MTV.
I don't know. I mean, this one is what, 86?
Yeah.
I mean, so MTV they hadn't been around that long, had they?
MTV launched in 1981, I believe.
Okay. So I guess they
Five
had
years.
been, and they definitely had made an impact by then, but
But
I don't know.
there's a line in here. There's a couple lines where they're flipping through the stations and the daughter's like, see what's on MTV. And it's like a music video. And the mom's like, oh, who's this? And
Yeah.
the grandpa's like, this is disgusting or something. And she's like, oh, this is the hottest, whatever. But there's this weird, even the daughter says something that's like anti MTV later on. I just noticed that theme kind of floating through movies of the time.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, Lost Boys, they talk shit about MTV. I mean,
yeah.
the kids like it, but the grandfather's like, you know, whatever.
But none
I
of
mean,
this
that's
stuff
just
would
TV in
exist.
general, you
It
know.
was like they're all influenced by it though too. It's I don't know what it is. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way to, you know, showcase like a generational gap for sure.
Did you have a as far as the creature goes or any other effects? Did you have a favorite?
I guess when they killed the grandfather, that was kind of neat because that was the effect was either like when he actually killed people, it was mostly the same effect except for when he killed OD because he like squashed his head. Like that was cool. And then but you know, my biggest gripe is all the off screen stuff.
Yeah,
Over half of them are off screen.
they
You know,
definitely didn't have the budget that Street Trash had.
sure, yeah. But I mean, it was fine. I liked the grandpa. I liked OD. Oh, what about Medusa? That was another
Yeah, she
like
was the Elvira character.
yeah, kind of the
I
and
really
you know,
liked her until the show was over and then she like was herself and
yeah.
was just kind of like whatever. But I really liked I loved how the kid calls in and she's the one that actually answers the phone.
Yeah.
It's like the phone that's sitting next to her is the actual working phone for the show, and the kid sees the number on the screen and calls in.
Between this and we watched Home Improvement for the for the Patreon, and like that's like a thing is like when shows like every show in movies and TV is just live. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
like clearly like you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
it doesn't work. Like you're like you watch it now as an adult and you're like, well, no, you have to cut around. Like the camera's not even pointing at that person. How would you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, that's all I could think of when I was watching her. Like,
yeah. She was
this show wouldn't be live. Why would this be live? Like,
totally, totally. Although, you know, I wanted to though, like in Fright Night when you got Peter Vincent's show on the TV, was it the same way? It was live, wasn't it? Also,
I don't think
I
he
think
calls in, does he? Like he doesn't.
nobody
No,
calls
he
in,
goes
but
to the studio to meet him.
yeah, I just feel like we saw like the last at the end of it when everything's okay, and he and his girlfriend are like making out. They've got the show on the TV, and
Hmm.
Peter Vincent goes, "Right, Charlie," and
Hmm.
and even though that could have been recorded, I got the feeling for some reason that it was a live show, but that wouldn't
Maybe.
work, I guess. Yeah, like you said, like that wouldn't work
Well, you could record. I mean,
when you're showing movies, or I don't know.
some of these yeah, it definitely wouldn't work. I mean, yeah, it would have to be
You couldn't do,
you could do it not live. Like you could, they could have shot that earlier in the day.
yeah.
You
You don't
know,
think it would work live, like if Svengoolie did it live?
I mean, I'm sure Svengoolie probably has done it live
I don't know if he had.
at some point. I'm sure in his career he's had a live show,
I
like
wonder.
maybe a telethon or like maybe like something. I'm sure he's done a
uh,
live show once or twice.
I don't know.
And what's cool about his show is it feels live.
Yeah,
Like it really does have that, like, because it's so chaotic and like clearly like they use the first take a lot of time, and
yeah,
you know he's going off the cuff.
yeah,
Yeah, it does feel, it has that vibe.
yeah.
The Co-Zone felt like that too when I was a kid.
Man, I wish I could find that. I've never seen it. I've never seen the coach
Really? I
because I
bet I could
didn't.
find it.
You think so?
I mean, it was basically,
It
he
was
wasn't
probably
just
YouTube
It was the
videos.
same idea where he basically would do what he does, but it was all the Fox Kids shows.
Yeah.
He'd be like,
Oh, really?
oh yeah, he'd be like, oh, the X-Men are up to something wild. Okay, well,
Really? I
and
didn't know
yeah.
that. I thought it was like more of like a you can't do that on television. Like a
No, it wasn't even a show. It was like basically they called it the Co-Zone. It was on from like 7 a.m. to like 9 a.m.
okay,
And they played all their shows,
okay.
and then he would be like
He's just the
the
host.
the commercial break. Yeah, he'd be
Yeah,
like, okay, we're gonna do this. Okay, well, no, we're back to Eat the Cat.
yeah.
You
That's
know,
awesome.
I bet I can find it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down.
There's probably you should. There's probably episodes on YouTube, I bet. But the ending, the monster, that's the other thing. A lot of these 80s movies, clearly they were like, hey, we got some they thought they had something there, so they set it up for like a sequel. And then it never got made. But
Do you think that's what they're doing? Because I felt like they just ran out of fucking
I mean,
time.
the monster gets away, but everyone dies. Like literally everyone dies.
Yeah,
The
everyone
kid,
dies, but you don't like, they literally have three characters left, and then
yeah.
you don't see any of them. It's just
It was off screen, yeah.
it's all off screen, and the only one you see is Medusa.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, that's it. That's the end. Like it was
Yeah.
kind of anticlimactic.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like they were like, leave the door open, for the sequel. But I would love that. Some of these movies where they did that, whether it was this Night of the Creeps, like God, I need to watch Night of the Creeps again. There was so many that they left the door open for like sequels that never got made. I think they could come back and revisit that now with like a half a budget and do something good. But
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all these people are still around.
yeah.
Tom Atkins still
Um
around,
well, yeah, he is slowing down, but you
but he
got
dies at the end of Night of the Creeps anyway.
he does, but there's is it the director's cut where I guess he stumbles out of the house after it blows up and he's barbecued and
Yeah, but then
yeah, but I guess he still
he
dies.
fall. Isn't that in the regular cut?
Is
Or
it?
no, where he falls over and then you see the worms crawl out of his head.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, the
So
difference is, didn't the original cut shows the space, or they show the spaceship or something.
over the graveyard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or that's in the, I don't know if it's director's cut
Yeah,
or what,
dude.
but
Fuck, man. That's the movie that needs like a sequel. Because they set it up where the aliens were gonna infest the graveyard and we'd have a bunch of zombies.
right.
That would be so awesome.
I mean, even though it's an awesome movie, I mean,
Yeah.
remake it. Like,
You could remake that, I guess. Because the original's so good. I mean, it's not gonna hurt.
yeah, it wouldn't taint the original.
Do a sequel though. That would be cool. That's where the balls come in. Do a sequel. Don't remake it. Like write a good story that's going to pick up where that one left off.
Yeah, man, make one where the protagonist has had a shitty life for 30 years, and
Yeah,
that, you know what I mean? And
that
then
kid. I forget his name.
and
But
some kid comes in, and yeah, I forget what the kid's name is too,
He's
but
still got to be
yeah,
around.
I'm sure he's around, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, have him come back and have his life suck. That's the formula we always go with. And then bring in some new kid, and like, it's so,
No,
when
I
they
think
eventually do it with Gremlins, I'm gonna fucking lose it.
I don't know what you do with Gremlins, but imagine like you just pick up this town, like pick up with the graveyard, the aliens shoot a bunch of creeps down and resurrect these, and you got a zombie movie.
Yeah.
But the way to but the bigger problem is to take out the aliens because they can just keep making zombies. So that would be awesome.
It would
You
be
have to
awesome.
like you just recast Tom.
You wouldn't have him in it. I mean, he's dead.
Oh yeah, that's right. God damn, that sucks. He was such a good
He's
character.
awesome.
Yeah. All right, man. What else you got on this? Anything?
No, no.
Satisfied?
Yeah, pretty good movie. I mean,
Did you like it?
yeah, I did. It was odd, but it was good. It
Yeah.
was my kind of movie for sure.
Cool. What'd you call it? Dirty? Not dirty. Dirty horror? No, you said something else.
I don't know what I would call. I said last week the movie was filthy, but like
Filthy horror. You like your horror filthy.
I no, I like it weird and like
Yeah.
loud and obnoxious.
This was definitely that. But
Like,
that's why I'm surprised.
you could watch this movie on mute and it would be loud and obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like just the color palette.
That's
Just
why
the
I'm
aesthetic.
surprised Street Trash isn't like your favorite movie of all time.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
You still have reluctance when you say that.
I did. It was so
I
I
was
don't know what
telling
it was
Joe.
about that one.
I was telling Joe about it. Like I was like, dude, you got to watch this movie. And I was telling him like, it's got a game of keep away with a dick. You gotta watch.
Watch it, watch it with your wife on your anniversary.
All right, man. Next week you've got U, letter U, right?
Yeah, I have you. You're right.
All right, folks, we're back. You don't even know that we took a break. Letter U is notoriously tough, right, Kevin?
Very hard.
Very
And
hard. So I guess
the movie I had picked out, we're not sure if it's a horror movie, and it might just be a really long music video. We don't know.
what was it called? What was it called again?
It's called Urban Menace.
Urban
and if anybody
Menace.
has any information on it,
But it stars all the
it
guys.
stars Snoop Dogg, Ice-T, Big Pun, Fat Joe.
Yeah.
It looked interesting, but we weren't sure if it was going to be if it was a horror movie.
Right. And it probably came out back when like those guys were all at war. So they probably just filmed themselves like in their daily activities and whatever. But we dug a little deeper on our break and we found, what did we find? We found a couple.
It's a few, but
We're gonna celebrate. We're gonna celebrate our first letter U, which was Urban Legend,
which
we're
we
gonna do-
hated. We hated.
It's a terrible fucking movie. Not as bad as Queen of the Dam, though, right? Am I right?
No, it was not as bad as
Okay.
Queen of the Dam.
We're gonna do
Yeah,
Urban Legend 2, the final cut. Came out in
And I mean,
2000.
And my thing is, I just watched the trailer. It doesn't seem like it's worse than the original.
All right. You said,
You
like
know.
you said, who's in it? Joey Lawrence.
Joey Lawrence in it. That was
Where
the
do-
kick. I'm like, well, Joey Lawrence is in it. How
Where do
about
we
I
know
give it to
Joey
you?
Lawrence from?
Blossom. He also had a TV show with his two brothers called Brotherly Love.
Oh yeah, I knew him from something. I don't know if it's that or what. I feel like was he on Charles in Charge? No,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
He was also. Oh wait, what was he on as a little kid?
he did something as a little kid. He did a bunch of stuff. Probably he's kind of
Yeah.
a weirdo now.
No, well, now
Um,
he does movies that his with his two brothers. That his younger
Oh.
brother directs all the time. He's in a movie called Money Plane. Also has I'll just send you some stuff from Money Plane. It's pretty insane.
Cool. I
He
appreciate that.
also did the voice of Oliver in Oliver and Company.
Really? Oh, maybe that's what I remember him from. I don't know. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do Urban Legend Final Cut, Urban Legend 2 Final Cut.
Urban
And,
Legend, just Final Cut.
Yeah, just
There's-
Final Cut. So that we
which
have
is funny
something to-
because there's a third one.
Yeah, and we'll do that next season.
Oh, he was on Give Me a Break.
Give
That's
me a
what we're thinking
break.
of.
That's
yeah.
where I'm from.
Ah,
Yeah.
Mel Carter.
Give Me
What a
Break.
show. Great
Yeah,
show.
Great show. I bet there's a Give Me a Break Halloween
I
episode.
bet there is.
We do that for the Patreon,
I think there's only 3 seasons of it, maybe 4.
which is weird because that show was like all give me a break, like that.
Yeah. Just like that. Yep.
Nell Carter. And then she had a show called Nell, I think afterwards.
That was a movie about a deaf
Oh,
and
yeah.
weird lady lived
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
woods. That was not Nell Carter. That was Jodie Foster. I get those two
Liam
confused
Neeson
all
was in
the
that.
time.
Liam Neeson. That's one of my mom's favorite movies.
I think I saw that in theaters, and I remember
I
being
did
like
too.
10, being like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck
What
is this?"
Horror movie. All right, so we're gonna do that, and then we're also gonna do a What'd You Watch of Underwater 2020, Kristen Stewart.
We almost broke our rule
Almost.
and went with this newer movie that came out last year. That's getting Adam's seen. I haven't, and I've heard it's very good.
It's really good. I think it's a very underrated movie. So that way we've got a backup in case Urban Legend is just complete trash, which actually I hope it is, so we can.
I mean, we haven't ripped on a movie in a while. We've been getting some real good ones.
Yeah, we have. That works. You good? You good with that? I almost ruined your pick. I didn't want to ruin your pick.
That's all right. I mean, I was picking the Snoop Dogg one reluctantly. I had a feeling you might be like, I don't know about this one.
Feel free to watch it and report back with you watch.
It has a 1.5. It has a very low rating. I think I read some of the reviews, and it was so the only people that watched it are like doing the IMDb ratings list backwards, and so they've gotten to the movies that have 1%, or 1 out of 10s.
That's awesome. All right, next week, Urban Legend 2 Final Cut, Urban Legend Final Cut, and Underwater. I'm looking forward to that. That's I was just talking about that with my brother recently. All right, hey, you want to support the show? Check out patreon.com/Death by Podcast, where you find our bonus mini podcast, BoobTube TV. Like we just said, we've been talking about what you call your Halloween sitcom episodes. Next, this week we did what do we do? Home Improvement. Next week we're doing what are we doing next week?
We're doing that. We could do Blossom in honor of Joy Lawrence.
Blossom. All right. I know we said what we were going to do on the show.
Yeah, but
so if we don't figure out what that is, then we'll do Blossom. But eventually we'll do Blossom. I'm glad we thought about that, dude. Punky Brewster, I bet has one. I bet
Punky Brewster probably a few.
I bet Give Me a Break has one. So check that out. You want to support the show, and you can find us on social media at Death by Podcast everywhere: Instagram, YouTube, Twitter.
Wait, was Give Me a Break a spinoff of Charles in Charge?
It might have been. I don't know. They all spun off of each other. Mr. Drummond. They're all about Mr. Drummond.
Different Strokes.
Different Strokes.
I used to love Different Strokes.
Great show. I bet they got a Halloween one.
I bet they got some Halloween episodes.
Yeah, some good stuff. Actually, it was. Nell Carter was on Different Strokes, so I think that was the spinoff.
Wait, so Give Me a Break is a spinoff of Different Strokes?
Different Strokes, I think so. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Okay. Joy Lawrence was not on. Okay.
No, he was not. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. Good times all, and stay tuned for next week. We got a double feature. I'm your host, Adam. That's your other host,
Kevin.
It's Miller time. Kevin, what do you have to say for yourself?
Shut the fuck up.
Woo! That was a harsh one. Thank you, folks. We will see you next week. Just shut up.
Yep.